Is there any river, lake, stream or garden near your house? Is there a field nearby? Anyway, you must have seen the school garden. If you look around in these places, you will see living things like animals, birds, insects and plants. You will see a lot of variety in the living things in all these places. There are many differences among them. There are different living things in each of these places. Each living thing has a different color, shape, size, shelter and call, that is, the sound it produces. For example, there may be a crow on one tree. There may be a sparrow on another. On another tree, we may see a weaver, that is a baya bird. The crow builds a nest of its own. Asian quail lays her egg in a crow's nest. But the sparrow collects things like little sticks, cotton wool, threads, wool, rags and uses them to build its small nest. Perhaps you have seen the beautiful nest of the weaver bird hanging from the branch of a tree. The male weavers build the nest and the females may sometimes help with the work. Some living things are minute, that is, they are very, very small in size. We cannot even see them with our eyes. The variety that we see among the living things in a certain place, that is, the differences that we see in them, is called biodiversity. Biodiversity means the variety in living things. There are scientists, that is, those who study the natural world, who study biodiversity. Different living things live in different surroundings, such as on land, in water, marshy places, grasslands, trees, hilly areas or riverbanks. These scientists observe living things during the day as well as the night and also in different seasons. They make notes and keep a record of their observations about where a particular living thing is found, whether it changes its place at any time, what it eats, how it moves, whether it sleeps in the daytime or the night time, whether it lives alone or in groups, what work it contributes to the nature, how its offsprings are born, etc., etc. They observe living things that live at great heights as well as those who live deep underwater. To observe them from a distance, they use telescopes. A telescope is an instrument which makes distant things appear to be nearer and bigger than we could otherwise see them. Telescopes are fitted with pieces of glass of certain shapes. These glasses are called lenses. Lenses help to enlarge the things we want to observe. Sometimes cameras are also used. Thus, various kinds of devices are used to observe living things. Scientists make such observations over long periods of time. Then they note them down and keep the record. They collect all such observations and then study them. By reading all such observations, they can tell about the living things in a particular area with much certainty. Environment. In our surroundings, that is, in the place around us, there are things like air, water, plants, soil, animals, sunlight, which have much to do with how we live. That is, they have an effect on our life. All these living and non-living things in our surroundings, which are related to our living, together form the environment. The environment consists of the atmosphere and all the nature around us. Environment science studies the environment. Living and non-living things receive help from each other. There is a give and take between them. In other words, there is interaction between them. Environment science studies how living and non-living things help each other and what effects they have upon each other. For example, When some animal dies, vultures eat up the dead animal. In this way, vultures get food and at the same time, the surroundings get cleaned up. If kitchen waste like skins and stalks of fruits and vegetables, spoiled food is added to the soil at the roots of the plants, it gets consumed by the microorganisms there. Thus, they get food and the waste matter they produce gets mixed in the soil. It is called humus. It is useful for plants. The food chain. Food is what connects living things. This connection is called the food cycle. Any chain is made of many links joined to each other. But in the food cycle, there are imaginary links and not real ones. If these links get separated or one of the link falls off from the chain breaks. Each living thing is connected to every other. They depend upon each other. If one link of a food chain goes missing, the food chain breaks. For example, the deer eats grass and tiger eats the deer. Thus a chain is formed. A food chain consists of several living things. Every living thing is part of some food chain. The food chains help to maintain the balance that we see in nature. Balance means that all factors in the environment are maintained at a proper level. It means that the proportion of animals from one group alone, say those who are carnivorous or herbivorous, does not fall or rise too much in comparison with that of the others. This keeps the environment in its proper condition. Animals and plants are both parts of food chains. Aquatic plants, that is plants that grow in water, eat the insects found in it, and the fish in the water eat the insects, and the owls eat the fish. There are many such food chains in nature. The food web. There are many food chains in nature. Many such chains go to form the food web. A worm eats leaves from a tree. A frog eats the worm. A snake eats the frog. Snakes eat mice too. Mice eat seeds or nuts, and so a food web is formed. One living thing can be a part of several food chains. The most important factor in a food chain is plants. Every living thing needs food. Animals get their food from their surroundings. Many animals eat only plants. These animals are said to be herbivorous animals. Other animals eat these herbivores, and they are said to be carnivorous. Thus, at the base of every food chain are plants. Plants make their own food. This process of making food is called photosynthesis. What did we learn? We see a variety in the living things found in any particular place. Some living things are minute, that is very, very small. The variety or the differences we see in the living things of a particular place is called biodiversity. A variety of devices are used to observe living things. Scientists bring together all observations and study them. The living and non-living things in our surroundings together form the environment. All living things are connected by their need for food. These connections are called food chains. Many food chains together make the food web. Plants form the base of any food chain. Plants make their own food. This process is called photosynthesis. Exercise. Fill in the blanks. The atmosphere around us and nature are together called the dash. The differences or variety we see in living things is called dash. Many food chains together form the dash. Plants make their food by the process of dash. Right or wrong? Write down the correct statements. The environment consists of living things only. People who observe, record and study living things are called journalists. There is a variety in the living things that are found in any one place.